Welcome to Super Woo Radio, where we are awakening into being free and sovereign. It's a place where minds hurt and hearts sing as we break through the barriers that have been holding us back. So be prepared to have belief systems confronted as we take the journey of the truth seeker and explore the answers to life's biggest questions. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction. So come along for an awareness expanding experience with George and Jason.
Hello and welcome everybody to Super Woo Radio, episode number 5. We are so excited to be back with you again, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else who's listening, whether you're in this level of reality or an interdimensional being, extraterrestrial, we don't care. We love you all, and we're thrilled that you're actually listening, and all you guys down there in the underground bases too, and the members of the ruling elite who are listening in too, we love you all. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for your service, but all those guys who are making it hard for us, you are now welcome to pack your things and leave. Isn't that right, Jason?
It is indeed, and hello everyone. Good to see you all back again. Ratings are going extremely well. We're averaging just under 40,000 plays pretty much for every episode. It's amazing, the response. Must be saying something completely out there or something people are resonating with. Either way, it's all great. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on, George.
Oh, huge changes in me again. I know you've been going through stuff. Everyone's going through stuff. Everyone we've spoken to, very intense energies. This has been recorded on the 15th of November. So just so people get an idea of when it was we're talking about. My goodness, the energies this week, I went through very serious 3 days of darkness myself, purged a lot of energies, and this is the best I've felt in a while. I can tell you, it's been tough going, hasn't it, Jay?
It has indeed, and I will say that you're doing as tough as I've ever seen it earlier in the week, so I'm glad you've come through that. I think we all have. Everything's lifted again, and we're ready to soldier on.
Dragging my heels in certain areas of my own personality, and needed to address these issues, and I'm glad I did. It hurt at the time. It's never a good feeling when you're going through it, but it was coming on for some time. Like, this was quite a build-up for quite a few weeks, and yeah, it really peaked last week. So okay, enough of me. We have got something big coming out pretty soon. We have got what's called Our Journey Home, the movie, which is really a documentary, isn't it?
It is a documentary. We chose Our Journey Home movie as the URL, the domain name, because documentary made the whole thing too long. So if there's any confusion, we'll call it a movie documentary, just to keep everybody happy. And the big news, the special news, is I've just heard from Sean Vandenberg. He has now completed the audio and the credits, and the final quality control check is being done tonight. I've received the graphics for the DVD covers.
Wow.
And for the DVD itself. That will be going tomorrow to the Australian production house to get prepared and ready for sale through our Australian audience. And we'll be organising a producer over in the US to get put on Amazon, where everyone else can purchase them from around the world. So pretty much in about 3 weeks' time, they'll be available through Australia. And then I'll give ourselves, with Amazon, it could be as much as 4 weeks or even 6 weeks before people can actually buy them. We're going to try and fast track that because everyone needs to see this and we want it out before Christmas.
Yeah, we do. We want it out, and we're going to try and see what else we can do to get it out there. It's we're looking at certain streaming packages as well, but at the moment our focus is on getting it out there in the DVD format. So very exciting stuff, because this documentary really starts getting into in a more subtle way, not as aggressive as I can be in my past history. It's really aimed at reaching a wider audience, isn't it? It kind of bridges the gap, because when people are confronted with everything or the big juicy stuff that I've got to say first up, they just freak out, don't they? They can't handle it.
It's too much to go through in one sitting. It takes a long time to get through all the programs, all the layers of control and manipulation, and when you go automatically straight to the chakras and the pineal gland and all this cosmic control system, people just aren't ready for it. So,
well, it's all right for a lot of people who are well versed in these areas and they know what chakras are, but the majority of the world's population don't even know what a chakra is, or they don't even know that we have energetic centers or energies exist or interdimensional realities exist. So I think a lot of people forget just how many people are still contained mentally within the matrix.
And the documentary is very grounded. It's very earth-based. There's a theme of the Aboriginal history and what they're all about and how they relate to Mother Earth and how we connect and reconnect back with her. So it still has a fair bit of woo, and I think everyone's going to enjoy it. It may still be a little strong for mainstream television. We never know our luck. We may get someone to pick it up, and anyone listening, if they're interested, get hold of us. Just contact Our Journey Home. Just go to the website and we'll go from there, or you can go directly to ourjourneyhomemovie.com.au, which is the website, which will be up and running by at least the end of this month, probably earlier. So before the end of November, hopefully in a couple of weeks, to be honest.
Fantastic. We're very excited, because it's a really good medium for us to be able to reach a much wider audience, isn't it? Get this message out there to as many people as we possibly can. Well, Jay, I'd like to now take the time out to introduce our wonderful guest. I'd have to say, you come across people in our travels and in our journeys, and you really feel the depth and the magnitude, and I would say people who have gone through the school of hard knocks, they have this particular energetic signature to them, don't they?
They do indeed.
Having dealt with the divine feminine and what she's gone through, and the courage, for me, and for many, it's when you really feel the power, the strength, and what the feminine has actually gone through to be able to facilitate this incredible experiences we're having. And for me, there's so many women that carry that archetype, so strongly. Every woman does, but some women seem to be carrying it stronger than others, because it's their journey, it's their setup. And for me, Laura Lee is one of those people, and I'm going to say it's such a fantastic honour, both, and I do speak on behalf of you, Jay, because I know this is the same for you. We are so deeply honoured to have on our show Laura Lee, Mistycah. So, Laura Lee, welcome to Superwoo Radio.
Oh my goodness, what a amazing intro that was. I'm just like blushing over here. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm really excited to connect with you guys and get some information out that both you have and questions that you may have for me too. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you. I'm just going to read out just a very brief intro here, a very brief part of your bio. As a psychic and intuitive, Laura Lee can sense energies and entities that are out of balance or out of place, and then know how and where to direct them. Laura Lee has a passion for working in the realms of spirit, the unknown, and the supernatural. And working with these energies has become normal and second nature to her. So I think that's a really good starting point for people to begin to get a feel and understanding. But you've got quite a list of accomplishments. Would you be able to share those accomplishments with us and just let the people know who Laura Lee is and what you've been up to and what you're about.
Oh, wow, that's a that's an interesting question. It's funny when people ask me what I do, I just sit there with my mouth open because it's so weird. I don't know if people could even understand. And one time my daughter said, "You know, Mom, my boss asked me what my mother did, and I just stared and I didn't know what to say. And I said, you know, that's a really good question. What does my mother do?" So it's just kind of funny. Me and my Ghostbuster partner call what we do weird shit, and there's different kinds. there's in our book Got Ghosts. There's different kinds of what we call WS. There's RWS, that's really weird shit, and then there's RWSS, that's really weird, scary shit. So there's degrees of weird shit, okay?
Well, you're in the right place here, because this is Super Woo Radio. We don't talk normal woo here, we talk super woo.
So I am right at home. There's not many places. Some interviews that I do, I can't really be myself. I have to be kind of mainstream. So it's really good for me to be able to be just as weird as I am and have a platform for that. I've written 3 books. The first book I wrote is called Cryogenetics, The Simple Secrets of Human Alchemy, about how to change the body through alchemy. And that one has been sold out and waiting for a second printing. And I've got to get my behind in gear and update it so we can reprint that. My second book was Living in an Indigo House, The Heartaches and Victories of First Wave Indigos. And that is about the indigo adults who are on the planet today, taking all of the hits and the being in the forefront of change. And then my latest book is called Got Ghosts. And that is about our Ghostbuster stories, and it also has a do-it-yourself Ghostbusting guide. So we don't really want to bust all the ghosts in the world because there's way too many of them for us to do. So we would much rather have people bust their own ghosts. So we wrote this book so people could kind of take things in their own hands and get savvy to what's going on psychically and spiritually. So that's kind of my accomplishments in the literary field. And then I have several websites. I have thefirstwaveindigos.com, which is a support system for first wave indigos. And on that website, it gives the profiles of what a first wave indigo is. And one of the profiles is kind of a joke. It's called "You Might Be an Indigo If," and it tells all of these funny things that first wave indigos talked about themselves. I was on a chat room one night. I used to have a chat room in my in the Knights of Mystic House website, and all these indigos were in there one night, and I said, you know, indigos are so strange. We could have kind of a spin-off of Jeff Foxworthy's "You Might Be a Redneck," and it just went hysterical after that. The things that came up on that were just really funny, and I've had more people write to me saying that they enjoyed that because they could really relate to that. So you'll just have to go into the firstwaveindigos.com website to find that out. And then my first website that I ever did is Mistycah, spelled MISTYC house.com. And that is where you'll find the Knights of Mystic House and the Knights Code and Mystic House of Healing, and it's just kind of got a variety of different types of things. And that's also where Ghostbuster Gals is a part of that site too. And recently I've just started a new project. It's brand new. There's hardly anything there, and it's called RWS Productions. so you can imagine all of the weird stuff we could put on the US productions.
It was a really weird shit website.
Really weird shit productions. That's what I'm going to be working on this winter is all sorts of weird shit to put on that website. So, yeah, you got to have fun in this business. If you don't, you're gonna go down with the destruction because.
Oh, yeah, totally agree. I mean, we've had to really have a sense of humor about the work that we've been doing because it can really eat you up if you don't.
Oh, it can. And that actually, humor and laughter is one of the secrets in the cryogenetics book of being able to unplug and not be involved in energies that could consume you, because laughter breaks through that. It's like it cracks the code and sets you free. And so I think we should have, good belly laughs every day to keep us healthy and to keep us out of the clutches of the PTBs. So
yeah,
that's kind of
good point. Yeah, Cynthia and I always make a point of laughing each day. We always laugh at something, and some days we're just laughing all the time. It's yeah, sense of humor is so important. I love that. I would like to ask you, Laura Lee, was there a trigger in your life that started you on this path of psychic abilities and healing arts, or were you always that way inclined from a child?
I think I was always inclined this way, but being seeped in organized religion, it was really hard for me to express that. And it wasn't, I started getting into some of the fringe things in the 80s, the late 80s, with muscle response testing and kinesiology, and that was like really fringe at the time. And I started doing therapies like reflexology. I was trained in that, and back then that was very out there. And now it's really mainstream, and so is kinesiology. Everybody knows how to do that, but I was kind of in it when nobody was doing it, and had to really try to bring elements of credibility in these fringe, or what was deemed to be fringe sciences at the time. And so I guess that's kind of where I got my start. And then things started getting, I don't know if it was, yeah, it was way before I started doing ghost busting. I've been doing ghost busting for about 10 years now with my Ghostbuster partner, Ronnie Foster. And, but I was doing weird stuff way before then. I don't know, I guess my life after I left organized religion, I think that's when I really started being able to be free to be myself. And that's been, I think that was in like the early 90s. And so it hasn't been that long. Well, I guess it has. That's I think it's 5 years ago, and it's like
yeah, my goodness. Doesn't time fly?
Yeah, it does. So it just kind of built upon itself, and then in the last 8 to 10 years, when I started working with first wave indigos and trying to understand that whole dynamic and then offer support systems for that, which I feel is one of the main reasons I'm here on planet Earth, is to support and protect the first wave indigos. And so with that, you're getting into all sorts of fringe things, because it's not all about this planet. There's off-planet things. There's things that happen inside this holographic universe, things that happened outside, things that came into this universe that were never supposed to have been here from outside the universe to try to muck things up and put viruses in here. There's this story is on my First Wave Indigo website. It's called The History of the Hologram. And if you want to read some really weird stuff, go into that webpage, because it gets kind of out there. But there's so many people who read it and said, "Oh my gosh, this resonates so much. This is this is how I feel and this is how I've always felt, but I didn't know how to put it into words. Then, of course, there's people that think that I'm totally bonkers but
I can so relate to that, Laura Lee.
So either people love you or they just think you're totally off the wall and need to be locked up. So, there's no happy medium. Either they love you or they just despise you. It's either one. There's no middle of the road.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people also, and Jay and how many people listening can relate to that. I mean, because so many of us are on this level of understanding now, and we've seen through lenses of such much greater awareness than the majority. It's not an elitism thing. This is where we are in our journey, and I tell you what, you still get so persecuted and judged, and amazing how people's eyes just glaze over every time you venture into this territory which is outside their paradigm.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I can totally relate to that, and I really give my hats off to both of you, wonderful warrior men, for defending the feminine ray and standing up there and taking all the hits, because you do take hits. This planet has been so corrupted for so long that anybody that stands up for truth and justice just gets nailed. And I really salute you two for all of the amazing work that you're doing.
Well, we live by what you've written and sent to me, and it's known as the Knight's Code. And I'm not going to read it out right now. I'm going to read it out at the end, because I think it's a fantastic way to finish off. And it's a message to all men. So hang in for that. We are going to read that out later on. It's of utmost importance for all men to remember this about themselves.
I agree. But before we get there, George, I'd maybe like to speak a little bit more, or ask Laura Lee to speak a little bit more about the indigos. And one pertinent question I have, there's this myth that all indigos are benevolent. Everyone thinks that they're all lovely and here to do wonderful things for the evolution of our planet and our species. You have a different take on that, Laura Lee. You want to share it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was asked one time about indigos, and they said, "Oh, are all the indigos on this planet just here to do good things and to help the planet?" And I laughed and I said, "That would be really nice, but that that is not how it is. There's many, many indigos here on this planet that are serving the other team." And the thing that's really sad about this is that because they have taken on the indigo ray and have this brilliance about them, they can schmooze a lot better, and it's really a challenge.
You know a few, George, do you?
Oh, just a couple.
Know a few schmoozers. So yeah, it's the percentage keeps changing. There's right now, which is really good, there's about 20% of the Indigo Nation that is not on our team. Actually, they're on the other team. So maybe they'll come over, maybe they won't. I don't know. It keeps changing. As soon as I kind of get a handle on how things are, and I wrote this on the Indigo website, then it's like everything changes and all of the statistics change too. So it's my website is constantly being updated because everything keeps changing. So at this point in time, there are about 20% of the Indigo Nation that is corrupted and trying to spread that corruption, and doing that in the guise of their indigo-ness and the ultraviolet ray. To be able to do that forever, it will show through. And I think that these people, they're going to get theirs, and it's not going to be a happy sight for them. But while we're going through this phase in in the human evolution, that's what's happening right now. So, yeah, it's kind of sad, but one thing that is really important, and I think most of us that are doing the spiritual work have gone through this. I used to be a full-fledged, full-on Care Bear, and I thought everybody on this planet was a Care Bear, and if there was somebody that wasn't a Care Bear, they were just a misguided one that needed some help and needed a little more love, and then they would be okay. If you just love them a little bit more, then they'll be okay.
Oh, can I just say, this is what you're talking about now is so important. It is, because I fell into that trap too. I think everybody does at some stage in their journey. And this is so important, this perspective that you're sharing. So, please do go on with this. This is gold.
But the character things, well, several years ago, I got knocked pretty hard and realized there are people that like doing what they do, and they are never going to be a Care Bear because they don't want to be a Care Bear, and you can't make them be a Care Bear. And there are beings on this planet that just want destruction and chaos, and will do it hiding in the light. Now, this is I think it's funny. It is really funny because people don't believe that. They think, you just surround yourself with light and everything's going to be okay, and the light will overcome the dark. Well, what they don't know is that the dark can hide in the light and do it very well because nobody suspects them to be there. You don't expect an extremely dark entity to be in the light.
Oh, Laura, I just want to give you the biggest hug right now. You have, because you've nailed it. I've been warning people about this for so long, and you've been working with this stuff for your lifetime and beyond. And what you're sharing with us now is one of the most critical and crucial pieces of perspective and understanding that everybody on this planet needs to have. I'm just so grateful for you sharing this perspective. It is the key element to seeing through this cosmic deception.
Absolutely. After I kind of went through my Care Bear phase, I started getting what I call spiritual savvy, and started seeing through the lies and the deceptions, and was just appalled at how many people in the New Age community, it's not just the religions, it's the New Age community, that are just some of the most dark, foul, destructive beings in the universe. And
don't hold back, Laura Lee.
I'm just getting started, okay? You just got me going here. I met some of these firsthand. I've been trashed by some of these, and I found out several years ago by somebody who had been programmed by Illuminati factions, and he said that yes, there is a huge part of how they program that, especially back in the 80s and 70s, that was starting to cultivate gurus for the New Age community, so that it could lead sheep astray and look really, really good, and they could make a ton of money while they were doing it because their books would sell so well, because they were making people feel warm and fuzzy but not telling them the truth.
Oh, this is just magic.
The New Age luminaries.
This is what we call them, the New Age luminaries today, and you see them out there, and they have thousands of followers, and they've got this incredible, industrious empire beneath them, and it's just incredible what they have created. And what I say is, if you really take a look at them, they're actually the modern day priestly caste.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And understand that they have been groomed for these positions. It's not just like, oh, all of a sudden somebody wrote a book and it's starting to sell well. Well, no, there is a lot of things going on in the background, behind the scenes, to get them where they are. And will these people see the error of their ways? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah,
But
sorry to interrupt you because I just need to interject here because a lot of them might not even be aware that they have been groomed.
um, yeah, I think I I think you're right. There may be some that aren't aware, but most of them are. They have some kind of memory of being in these groups where they were hand groomed,
Mhm.
and there may be a few. You're right. I
No,
have to.
I mean from the point of view is what they truly believe they're doing is the right thing.
Um,
Or do you
there
think?
there are a few, but I found more so that they know that they're doing a job, and they're just kind of on robot mode. Um, I I think that maybe some of these people may get a clue and start breaking through some of their programming, and that's what it is programming, and be able to clear themselves. But it's going to take a lot of work for some of these people, and they're going to have to want to, and a lot of them wouldn't want to because they may have to they're making a lot of money on their spiritualism, and who wants to give that up? And but it can happen. I'm always optimistic that people can break through this incredible programming and start.
I guess my question, Laura Lee, is that do you feel that some of them are consciously aware that they are misleading people? That's the point I was getting at.
Actually, I do. I do.
Wow. Wow.
I know some for a fact that know that, and it's almost
Wow.
like they split personalities. If you get them in their personality that is the sneaky, underhanded darkness in the light, they'll tell you, and not only will they tell you, they're proud of it. And it's pretty sickening. And I've had some run-ins with many of them, and they do not like me. So, so I have some friends in very low places, not friends, I have acquaintances. I know people in very low places, and they don't like me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few that are getting quite uncomfortable with me too, but that's okay. It's mostly because I'm, exposing the chakra thing, which we will get into in great depth, mind you, everybody who's listening. But we're going to do that in the second part of the program. So hang on for that, because we are really going to delve deep into that subject matter, because we have somebody with us who really, really has been working in this area for a very long time and really knows her stuff. So. Yeah, I'll just hand it over to Jason now, because I know he's got a couple of questions, Laura Lee, that he would like to address with you.
Oh,
Are you there?
mention the word chakra and look what happens.
Are you there?
I'm here.
All right.
Wow.
Are you there?
Yes, whatever you do, don't talk about chakras or we'll get.
All right, for the listeners, we just got cut off. We're recording again, so we did
Mention
get
the
taken out.
chakras.
Don't mention chakras or getting rid of them, and then that's a bad thing. That's.
Oh, right on cue. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I think this went down then. So, okay.
George, just to follow on from the conversation we're having about the New Age luminaries, I did get some time to spend considerable time with two of the stars of the movie The Secret. One of the biggest stars I've got a lot of time to spend with. And I'm going to say, from my observations, and I've been in his house, met his wife, the whole thing, and he was robotic. He would get trigger words from the audience or during his presentations, and he would just go off in a great spiel. And I've seen it with a couple of speakers that I was involved in through Enlighten events, and they're very robotic. And when I've been with them one-on-one, both with them, and one who's not in the secret, they don't go into they're proud to be taking advantage of the situation they find themselves in and being groomed and the great detail Laura Lee just shared, but they hint of it. And I'm sure I wouldn't be one they'd want to talk like that with anyway. But I'm just going to confirm that my experience with some of these New Age luminaries has been exactly how Laura Lee has described it. So I just want to confirm that.
Oh, well, thank you, Jason. And it's interesting that you talk about trigger words that just make them go off into this beautiful, eloquent speech, and that they are robotic, because they are. That's the only way you can describe it is robotic and bionic. And I appreciate your insight on that, because that's exactly what I have found with the ones that I have been connected to.
Yeah, they're very much wordsmiths, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thanks, Jason. I appreciate your insights on that.
No, that's fine. Something not as out there as some of the subjects we're going to talk about later. You wrote a great article on the power of gold. It's on your website, and this is a subject I know a fair bit about. So your take on it is really great, because you're saying that gold has been corrupted and distorted. The actual vibration of the essential of the metal element of gold has been distorted. Can you talk more about that?
Oh, okay. That is something that was really dear to my heart a few years ago when we put that web page up. The group of indigos that I was working with, we were always out there hunting down things that were corrupted to cleanse and try to get back and into the flow again. And we realized that gold was extremely corrupted, and the spirit of gold was just barely hanging on, and did not like all the corruption around it. And it took us a long time to try to filter that out and get the actual entity, the spirit of gold, cleaned up and strengthened and back in the game again. And I know that sounds really crazy to a lot of people, but everything, as far as I'm concerned, has a spiritual aspect about it. It's kind of like the American philosophies that, every tree, every mountain, every flower, everything has a spirit. And the element of gold absolutely has a spirit, and it had been totally taken over. We have to keep going back and cleaning it up, because the powers that be keep trying to take it over again. So it's kind of a ongoing thing, but it's in a lot better shape than it used to be. And since we did that work, it's finding itself in a lot more benevolent hands than it used to. I think we did that, I'm thinking it was 2 or 3 years ago that we did that work and put that web page up. And I personally know a lot more people that actually have gold now that didn't have any at the time. So I feel like the work that we did really transformed the energy so it could attract itself to benevolent people. And that's what was happening, is through magic, elements like gold were kind of being tyrannized and owned, and could only go to what I call ass souls, could only be souls. And I don't take credit for that. My spirit guide Hal, that's what Hal calls them, ask souls. And the first time I heard that, I laughed my tail off. I thought, why didn't I think of that?
Well, Hal's got a good sense of humour, and I'm going to ask you a question about Hal in a minute, but I've got to ask you while we're on the gold first, what do you know of people consuming gold? Because I know that on one level some do, and maybe you can enlighten us if you do know about that and how they go about it and the reasons for doing so.
Are you talking about gold or white powder gold?
Well, is white powder gold derived from gold?
There's a lot of different information about white powder gold, and so I didn't know if you were talking about that or if you're talking about somebody actually scraping gold off and eating it. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm all of the above.
All of the above?
Yeah.
Especially the latter, and relating to off-world beings more than human beings.
Okay, so what's your question again? Is it okay to eat that, or okay, let's go back to the question. What was your question, Jason?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually George's question, and the subject he talks about with me privately a little bit, and I think he's asking if you experience the same thing. But there's a lot of talk about all this missing gold. It's all buried in the Philippines, and you shouldn't buy it because there's so much out there, and one day they're going to release it, which I think is complete hogwash. It's actually being used to bring the price down artificially. And George was telling me about his understanding and experience of some beings using gold, the physical gold, as a form of, I'm not sure if it's a drug or nutrition or what aspect, but they were consuming it or injecting it somehow to give them some power or some high. I'm not sure exactly. George might elaborate a little bit more.
It's more along the lines of consuming the gold as a physical fractal of the sun's energy, so they can, connect with fractalization of universal power. So they can find a way to connect with a more intense version of universal energy.
Okay, this is just my opinion on this.
Sure.
I think that that it can be used for noble and benevolent purposes if you understand and work with the spirit of gold. If you don't, you're falling into a trap, and you could go down a really dark path. Even though the spirit of gold that we did find in a spirit trap, and set it free, and it had to go to debriefing and it had to go out for rest and relaxation before it could come back and get back on the job, so to speak. And so it's still, with all of the weirdness that's going on, there's still some corruption that could get through there, but it's a lot more solid than it used to be a few years ago. And I would just say to anybody, before you do that, if you feel like you want to align yourself with the element of gold and with the spirit of gold, you've got to be really in your integrity and in your honor. Otherwise, you could get sucked into a really dark place.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, and wholeheartedly agree. And my question was not with the intention of suggesting or insinuating for people to take that path. My recommendation is we don't consume any substances, and we do it through our organic heart, soul, essence, and that's the way we connect to the universe. So what I was alluding to is there's extraterrestrial races here that are looking for, who haven't the capacity to, I would say, incarnate into human form and go through the arduous process that we're going through as way showers, but they're looking for more of a shortcut, so like the easy way out by consuming the gold. And it's like consuming a substance to achieve spiritual enlightenment. Basically, that's where I'm coming from, and that's the reasons for the so much gold being hidden from the public arena.
I have to agree with you there. Totally agree. I think that we'll call them the powers that be, or I call them the powers that were, PDWs, way out. They are so on the way out. They are so last year's.
So passe.
Nobody wants them anymore because they're so outdated. What I found, especially for first wave indigos, and I think that a lot of your listeners are probably first wave indigos, we have within ourselves, within our core, within our being, shortcuts anyway. And I think that from time to time it might be okay to do that if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, you should stay away from it. And these creeps that are trying to use the Earth's elements as a springboard so that they can be more pervasive and get more power and then lord over everybody. That's really sickening to me, but I think they've got another thing coming, because I really feel like the Earth and the Earth spirits and the nature spirits, they're ready to do some smackdowns. And I think they're like trying to make surprises happen. And all of these people that felt like they totally owned everything and they had everything in the bag, and they've got HARP under their thumb, they've got all of these physical methodologies to control. I think that they're going to have some surprises coming up real soon. And I'm really excited about sitting back and watching. I'm going to get me some popcorn and some root beer, and I'm going to watch the movie because it's going to be really interesting.
Good on you, Laura Lee. Yeah, that's what I tell people. Make sure you have a good stash of popcorn, because when the show starts happening in the public arena, it's going to be the best show in the universe, and we got front row seats.
Yeah, I totally agree on that one.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of substances and minerals and what have you, can you share with us what olmoricide is and why you choose to use it? And what, should I say, work with it, have a relationship, a working relationship with it?
Oh, thanks for bringing that up. This rock is absolutely out of this world, and I mean seriously, it's out of this world. It's not from this world. In fact, it's not even from this universe. It was snuck in, and it is it's got when we had it assayed, it has every element in it that's on the planet, and then some. There was some things that they didn't even know what it was. And it's very interdimensional. When people think of all the things that gold can do, well, this rock can do it too. And the rock does have gold in it. It's got all the noble metals in it. But this rock is like it's like the spiritual aspect of the the physical aspect of the cryogenetics egg. I don't know if you've seen that on my website, but that is the very high-tech entity, so to speak, and it is a protective protocol. We use that to quarantine ghosts that are unruly until we can figure out what to do with them. We can quarantine them in a cryogenetics egg, and they can't get out. And sometimes it really ticks them off. So the egg is something that we use to clear our bodies, to get us back in our core star. We put it around us. You have the DNA helix going down the core of your body with the star at the top and the diamond at the bottom. You take a few breaths, and then you tell it to turn on. And when it does, you can feel the garbage and the electromagnetic debris get sucked out of your body from the very core. It hits the shell, and it's instantly neutralized. Well, what the rock does too, when you use this rock, it's got a ground that's not on this world. And when you use this, it will also help to ground and neutralize things. If you put it by a crystal, you can give it the instructions, can you please clean my crystal for me, and come back a few hours later and it's clear. That's just one of the many things this rock does. I quit using crystals after I got this because this is so user friendly. You don't ever have to clean it, because when you're using it, and if you set it back down again, it just goes absolutely neutral and is waiting for its next task to do. Now, I've set up grids around my house and in my house, and the instructions are on the website to put one on all four corners of your house and then one in the center. And when you put that center stone in, before you set it, you give it an intention that you want your house to be a place of refuge, a place of humor, a place of awakening, a place of love and camaraderie, and then you place it in the center of the house. And when you do, you can feel the grid boot up, and you can feel just this incredible, out of this world strength and security. Now, if you set up a grid and something crappy gets in, it's because the grid let it in because you need to learn something. But it will absolutely take all of the riffraff and neutralizes it so it can't get in. Now, one thing that's interesting is that we have had grids set up in cities all over the world. We've been doing this for several years now, and there's quite an impressive list on my website about where these grids are. Well, we have got 2 of the 3 major power places on this planet, and I'm not talking about places like Sedona. I'm talking places like the Vatican has been done. Right after that, just 2 years ago, we were able to get the City of London, and and Stonehenge has been done. The third one is in the works now, and that is in Washington, D.C. So we're getting these power places done, and once those are done, of course, we do have one huge grid that is the entire U.S. One of our team went and did the entire U.S.
Wow.
And so we feel like, well, the Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia is in that grid, but we want to get its own grid around it. And it may have been done already. The woman that was going to do that was supposed to be doing it in October, and I haven't gotten back to her yet. And then, the hurricane came, and I don't know what happened. So I'll let you know as soon as I find out if that third one was done. But after we did the grid in the Vatican, guess what started happening after that? A lot of the priests that were doing all of these improprieties to children started coming up, and they started getting nailed to the wall with lawsuits. And this big, huge organization that could do no wrong is now being scrutinized and called on the carpet for their improprieties and their absolute atrocities, and they're getting nailed for it. And that didn't used to happen. And so if you look online on the list, and then I did this myself, and it was just kind of amusing to check the date out of when the grid went up, and then look in the newspapers at what happened right after that. A lot of things happened to public officials after the grids were put up. After our grid was put up in Spokane, we had some really interesting things happen to the city of Spokane and some of the city officials. So, yeah, just go check it out. We could go on and on about what's happened with that. One of the things I like to say about these rocks is that for me, it's just like my best friend. If I can hold this rock, it helps me to be able to center so much quicker. And it's like, I look at these as a friend and not as a, yes, it's a tool, but I look at them as a living organism and a friend that is here. Like I said, they snuck in. They got through all of the horrible protocols to get through the hologram
quarantine, sort of.
Yeah, the quarantine, exactly. And they had to sit there for a long, long time. This rock has only been out there for like 15 years.
Wow.
And know that it had to have been, it was only uncovered like 15 or 16 years ago. That's not very many.
No.
And had to be when the internet started coming out and being available to people. All of these indigos, that's when a lot of indigos started waking up or walking in, was around the turn of the century or right before that, in the late 80s, early 90s, kind of getting their bearings, because we couldn't really connect to each other globally until that happened. And so it was just kind of gearing up to what's going on right now. So go ahead.
I guess the question I have for you about what's the correct pronunciation of the word?
The rock is called almorasite, and the dust that comes off of the rock is auroralite.
Right, okay. And okay, so it's a living being, as we know, because I'm with you. Everything is a living being. I've even met myself as mineral consciousness. A friend of mine met himself as mineral consciousness not long ago, and I've met myself as a tree. I've experienced myself as a rat and other beings. And so everything is living. We know that. For people that don't understand that yet, that's it's expanding our awareness into more of the conscious life force of everything around us, and recognizing, acknowledging who these all these consciousness and all these beings are around us that make up this reality and every reality in the universe. So, who to you is Almorasite? What kind of a being is Almorasite? Can you tell us about the being that is Almorasite, or is choosing, shall I say, the consciousness that is choosing to express itself as that in the mineral kingdom in our world?
The first thing that comes to me when you say that is in service. This rock is here to be of service to us right now. Its whole mission is a service mission to help wake up the first wave indigos, and then cosmic cleaner crew, and then the rest of the earth beings. And its whole job is to activate us to our own internal power, and that's its job. It's an activator. And it's also one of the things that it does is a broadcaster. It can broadcast your conscious intention. So what it does is activates your own soul's memories and power, and then it gives a power boost to help you remember who you are and what you need to be doing here. And it's just like a support system.
People have dogs, for example, or a pet cat, for example, and we have cosmic and interdimensional friends that incarnate as our dog, who because I had one, and I had a blue heeler called Angie for 14 and a half years, and she took on so much of my pain and got me through some really difficult times in my life, and she was a very dear companion to me, and you know that these are people, these are beings, And so you're experiencing the same thing with Amorosite.
Yes, yes. I call these our pet rocks. So it's funny that you would. Pets.
Yeah, and this, us talking on this level, Laura Lee, is really helping people to understand consciousness and understand life in this universe, because when we can see everything as a living being, your whole dynamic and your awareness and your perception changes of life, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just that it changes, it's that it becomes more in depth and more honest and more authentic, because until you understand how the aliveness and the consciousness of everything, you are limiting yourself to so much of what's going on. You're limiting yourself to like 90% of what's really going on. And so, yeah, I totally agree with that.
And so what's really interesting, the being that is Almorosite has an interest in self-empowerment for us, not because there are other members of the mineral kingdom that have alternative agendas, and they appear as though they're loving beings, just like we have them in different ET races and interdimensional beings. When you look at the mineral kingdom also, there are different levels of consciousness within that. And I've come across some members of the mineral kingdom that don't have my best interests at heart, that actually are more interested in me giving my power to them and then create an aura of dependency.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a really good thing to take a look at, because it's like everything on this planet. Not everything is benevolent, and to assume that it is going to get you in trouble. And hopefully it'll give you a kick in the head so that you'll know next time not to assume. But yeah, you can get in real trouble by believing that everything is by believing every rock is a Care Bear rock, because no, you're absolutely right. They're not all Care Bear rocks.
Oh, wow. It's so refreshing to speak to a sister who is so expanded in her awareness, because when we speak to somebody on this depth, on this level, it's breaking the new frontier, because the New Age paradigm has only been able to take people so far. And then you get to this new wave. It's like there's this new wave of consciousness, and there's so many people who are listening to this as well. We are riding that new wave of consciousness that is coming through now, and we are smashing the paradigms of the cosmic, what I call the cosmic matrix. And, the New Age paradigm is all about the cosmic matrix. It's all about luring people and keeping people and holding people back in the cosmic matrix. So it's so refreshing to be speaking on such a broad level of awareness, Laura Lee. Fantastic. Jay, I know you have another question for her, but I'm going to change the subject a little bit, because, we're breaking paradigms here. And I have a really deep question for you, because I know this is going to affect a lot of women out there, a lot of women out there. So can you please enlighten us, Laura Lee, on the misrepresentations of being a witchy woman?
Oh, that was when you started introducing that. I thought, what is he going to ask? That was the last thing I thought you would say. Oh yes, it's interesting. I actually use that handle to enlighten people, because some people, it shocks them and they're scared, and then I get a chance to explain what Wicca is about, and what a witch really is, and what a witch was, and how the church had totally bastardized all of the spiritual elements of Wicca and these earth-based philosophies, and it's just appalling. I think more as we go along, and especially in the age of the internet, more people are aware of this than ever before. But back a few years ago, when I started doing this, there were still a lot of people that thought that if you were a witch or a Wiccan, that you worshiped the devil. And I have to explain to them, real witches and Wiccans don't even believe in a devil. That's something that the Christians made up. And so therefore we would not be worshiping somebody we don't believe in. And that shocks a lot of people, but it makes sense, because it's, they start looking at the logic of it, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that would make a lot of sense. And I've since I've come out with Witchy Woman and had that persona, I'm kind of moving more. I was trying to explain what I was to myself, just to understand where I'm going, and I'm kind of morphing into a sorceress. Now that brings up a whole nother can of worms. Oh my gosh, because no sorceress could ever be anything but evil, right?
Just like druids are evil, right?
Right. Well, when you think about it.
And shaman are evil, right?
Yes, but sorceress really conjures up these horrible, nasty images. And so I did that too, to break paradigms, so people could not have these stigmas on words and different groups of people that they know nothing about. And so, it's funny. I met this guy, and he was asking me about myself, and he scratched his head, and he says, so let me see. So what you're saying is that you're a witch and a sorceress, and that's the conservative part of you? And I laughed, and I said, you are so right. Said it all.
Good stuff.
So yes, this witch thing is more of an educational thing that I am using that persona, and witches are not evil and nasty. Some of them could be. I'm not saying that they're, it's just like all New Age gurus are good, right?
Well, exactly. I've met some really nasty Wiccans in my time, like really nasty. And I think every single modality on this planet has been infiltrated, and they haven't left a stone unturned. And the reason I ask you that question is because the perception out there is this broad, generalized perception that if you're a witch, you're evil. And I think that's so wrong, because people don't understand that the originality of being a witchy woman is one that's connected to the earth, that works with herbs, that works in an organic manner of life and uses organic processes that are natural and in harmony and synchronicity with our natural environment, our human environment, and our universal environment. So again, whether you're a witch or whether a true witch in the true sense of the word, whether you're a true sorceress or sorcerer in the sense of the word, or a shaman, or a true Christian, or a true Buddhist, or true, the original teachings were there, but somewhere along the line, they have all been infiltrated and tainted. So I wanted to break this program, this mental program that we carry about, someone who practices to be a Wiccan in the true sense of the word, or a witch in the true sense of the word. So really thank you for sharing that with us.
I really appreciate you bringing that up. That is very important, because there's still some stigmas out there. But you are so right. What Wicca is a very earth-based religion. But I don't do religion, okay? But
it's a spiritual practice, really. Yes, you can't really call it a religion, can you?
Yeah, well, now they're trying to get it as a bona fide religion, which I think they've kind of got it there. Even the United States military is honoring that as a bona fide religion, so that when they die, instead of having a cross on their grave, they can have the Wiccan symbol. So we are coming a long, long way, but there's still a lot of stigmas, and like you said, George, everything has been infiltrated. That's what we need to understand, is everything has been infiltrated. And what First Wave Indigos are here to do is to expose that infiltration and then break through all those paradigms, expose it, and change it. They're here to change the system and to bust the system. And I think hats off to all of you indigos out there, because we are doing a kick behind job right now. It's like we're out of control for the powers that be, or the powers that were, and it's getting more so. And I know that they're scared.
It's like being a surfer, you know. I've done some surfing and body surfing in my time, and I can say you wait there and you know when your wave is coming. There's a energetic signature about it. The water talks to you, Mother Earth talks to you, the atmosphere, the air talks to you, and this is your wave. And you start paddling, because if you try and catch a wave that's not yours, you're not going to get on it, or if you do, you crash and fall. So, and we've done that before. I've caught waves before that weren't meant to be my wave. I thought they were, from a egotistical and mental paradigm and even cosmic matrix point of view, my cosmic ego point of view. So now this new wave that's coming through, it's really deep, it's rising, you know, it's coming from the depths within each and every one of us, and we can feel it around us. We can sense the change that's coming. And all of a sudden there's this huge surge, this wave, this surge of energy coming through, down that serpent rope, down that umbilical cord, from the galactic core of the sun to the earth, to our core of our incarnational aspects. The mother is sending her, you know, nutrients down that umbilical cord for us to start birthing, and we're now riding this wave. We're surfing this wave. It's our wave. Now is our time as these indigos who have been on the planet for a few decades now. We've established ourselves here in this reality, and now it's our turn to shine and to break these paradigms. And like I've said, I'm a paradigm breaker, and we do need to, you know, adorn ourselves with that warrior aspect. And you do embody that so beautifully, Laura Lee, in your journey, in your expressions, and in your code of ethics, in your authenticity, in your integrity as a woman. And I really want to acknowledge that, because, you know, we're going to head off to a break now, and I really love for you to share with us, you know, the information of what people can do to get in contact with you who would like to explore what Laura Lee Mistycah is all about, and get in touch with you. So can you share with us those details, please?
Okay. Yes, my probably one of the best email addresses would be Nights at Mystic House. That's KNIGHTS at Mystic House, spelled MISTYC house.com. Or if, for those who feel like they're first wave indigos, you can get me at indigos@mystichouse.com. And the websites are firstwaveindigos.com and Mystic House, MISTYC house.com. And then there's the ghostbustergals.com. And then lastly, there's the really weird shit productions.com.
I love it. Brilliant stuff. I feel that's really going to take off for you, because it's the perfect name for the perfect time in this cycle. People are going to get it. They're really going to get it.
Yeah, I hope so. It'll be fun. Whatever it is, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, you do have a wonderful sense of humour. Hey, Joe. It's great to have a good sense of humour. We laugh a lot behind the scenes too. Jason and I really know how to, to use an Australian term here, we really know how to take the piss out of each other. So you've got to be able to really laugh at yourself as well. So, Laura, thank you so much for having the courage to be you. And we're going to take a short break now. Some shameless in-house promotions, of course, as per usual. And we'll see you on the other side of the break.
Long ago, the forests were so gold, the north wind slowly turned to snow. I time had almost surely gone. When the land was free as far as the sea, and the kingdoms won shone like the sun, and now there's me, the last of my line, the last of my blood and kind.
Our next episode of Superwoo Radio is a very special episode indeed. We are proud to present to you a panel discussion by 5 wise women sharing their knowledge and wisdom of the ages. So stay tuned. The book. Yes, the book that is exposing the deceptions being imposed upon humanity, shattering the paradigms and programs, belief systems and mental constructs of religion, science, New Age and even the occults. A book which is controversial and challenging to anyone that has given their power away to any program or belief system. Our Universal Journey is available in paperback, ebook and audiobook. ouruniversaljourney.com.au.
Ever wondered what's really happening on planet Earth? Who are we? Where did we come from? And are we alone in the universe? Imagine if all we were told was a lie.
I know about the illusion, I know about the lies being imposed on the human race. I know about it, and I'm here to expose them, and I will. Throughout history, we have been in contact with extraterrestrial races.
The crop circles are attracted to the ancient sites, and wherever you get an ancient site, you tend to get a lot of crop circles.
The light that descends from the sky affects each individual plant, makes it lay over, and it does it in 3 milliseconds.
Mother Earth is a living being.
The Earth has a force and a consciousness.
There's been an agenda to actually manipulate the energetic lines of the planet.
There was a lot of secrecy that was used to take the power away from people.
They are frightened of people knowing this piece of information. This is underneath the Vatican here. The question to ask now is who's running religion? Seriously.
We cannot continue to don't respect the earth, the nature, the environment.
Mother Earth is not happy with the way that we're treating her.
Change. We all have to change.
It's time to change for the better.
Every time you need to interact with another human being, just come from a place of empathy and compassion. Come from a place of love, and you'll be riding that wave of change.
It's time to discover the truth.
There is a much bigger purpose to you being here. You are very important.
And for us to be able to save this planet, we have to think much broader as our whole family, holistically.
It's time to recognise who we are.
This is the core to self-empowerment. This is understanding that nothing has it over you anymore. Finished. Game over. Free. I'm free.
It's time to begin our journey home.
It's good to have you home, look.
It's good to be back home. Yeah, it's real good.
Our journey home, the documentary, coming soon.
Music for this episode is brought to you by Medwin Goodall. The album is called The Sorcerer's Daughter and can be found on medwingoodall.net.
Woo Radio. We're here with Laura Lee Mistycah, a very special guest from over in the States. Now, Laura Lee, I must say, when I was reading your material, it is pretty out there and it's not for the average person, but for those truth seekers who really want to take the red pill and go deep, deep, deep down the rabbit hole, we've got a lady here who is, dare I say, Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Xena the Warrior Princess. It's incredible. It's incredible the work you do with interdimensional stuff. I think it's time to go there. I think it's really time to dig right into the what do you call it? The Cosmic Cleanup Crew. I think it's just a classic name. I think this is fantastic. So, just kick us off. Let's talk about the difference between a walk-in and a shove-in. I think a lot of people understand what a walk-in is, but the word shove-in is a new concept for many. Can you share the difference?
Sure. Shove-in is actually a term that I coined to help take some of the fear and terror that the churches have put in when they talk about a possession. And it's literally somebody or some being shoving into another person, and which is way different than a walk-in, because a walk-in, there's a mutual agreement. If someone walks into another body, it's because they're done with it. They don't mind. If they're done with it, it would just die anyway. So they head out, and the new being walks in, and it's all prearranged. It's very very well orchestrated, and it's great. Now with the shove-in, though, there is no agreement. The being says, "Oh my gosh, there's somebody. They just got knocked out. They're in a surgery. They're out. I can just shove in now, and then when they wake up, there will be two of us in there." So it's really crazy making too, because if these poor people with shove-ins, it's like timeshares. You never know who's going to come out, who's going to have the microphone. And it's really crazy making for those who are living with him, because you don't know. I had an ex-husband that had 3 shove-ins in him, and I never knew who was going to come out. He could be giving me hugs and kisses and rubbing my feet and worshiping me, and then 2 minutes later he's going off on me like I'm the most evil thing in the world. And you're like, was it something I said?
Yeah, wow, that's a really difficult, and it's so brilliant that you being able to identify it in that way and use the labels like that, because we've done holographic kinetics, and it talks about when these shove-ins, and we call them entities, they do take advantage of situations, don't they? So there's a lot of people that do have other interpretations, or shall I use labels, labels, for exactly the same thing. So this is a common theme. It is prevalent throughout our world, actually, isn't it? Because I've had many experiences of talking to people. Jason's had this, we've discussed this, and how many people around us do change, and all of a sudden you're talking to another personality.
Absolutely. And we go into depth in this in the book Got Ghosts. So for anybody that's interested in this, or if you've got somebody in your life as you think might have a shove-in, I would definitely read that book, because it will help you understand it and maybe what to do about it. With shove-ins, like you said, there's a total different personality change, and I feel like a lot of people that have multiple personality disorder that have been labeled as that is actually there's multiple beings in there. There's multiple people disorder is what it should be.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And if that was acknowledged as that, there is so many methods we can use to actually remedy that situation, to remove those shove-ins, to remove those entities out of these people's systems so they can just go back to being themselves.
Exactly. And one of the classic challenges after a shove-in has been removed is that the quietness. all of a sudden now the person is just there by themselves with nobody telling them what to do or trying to take over, and it's a real kind of culture shock after. So we have to help our clients that we take these entities out of, kind of help them along after that and re-stabilize in getting their life back and taking their body back over again, because it's a real shocker. So yeah, and they're all over the place. Shove-ins happen so much all the time. Anytime somebody gets a knock to the head and they're out cold for a while, or they're skunk drunk and they're out, or they're having an operation, hospitals are a classic place to get shove-ins. And it's a big problem here. It's a huge problem. And if anybody is going to go have an operation, I would really suggest making sure that they put up enough protective protocols that these creepazoids can't get through. And one of them would be to put a cryogenetics egg around you before you go under. I would put layers. I'd put probably about 1,000 layers. And I would not go under any kind of anesthesia without having my aurora light pendant on. And if they tell you you can't have it on, say, then put it in your hair. Take some of the dust out and put it in your hair. Yeah. Do anything about that. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a huge problem, and it's not just going to go away. There has to be people that know how to handle these shove-ins, and then know where to put them, because they're not all the shove-ins aren't just ghosts. We have a lot of ET shove-ins that we found, and we found weird, like electronic shove-ins and things that you don't even have a name for, things that you have to find for. You go, what's this? There's so many times I've been working with Ronnie, and she says, "That's weird shit. That's your specialty. Figure it out." And yeah, there's stuff that I'm going, man, I never even conceived that could even be here, and it's here. And so yeah, and there's always something new. Always. Just when you think you have a handle on what's going on, something new happens. So
it's fun in the mystery. Yeah, that's what my higher self has been saying to me. My greater being has been saying to me, George, because there's a lot of times when I thought I knew, as all of us go through that phase. And yeah, my greater being said, George, because I was feeling quite ashamed of some of the things I'd shared with the greater community. I went through that period of shame and humility, and I still do at times. And my greater being says, George, there's fun in the mystery. And of course, your earthly personality and your ego doesn't want the mystery; it wants to know and be in control. And yeah, it's funny.
Well, it's nice to have some information and education. But with that, part of that education is knowing you never know what else is going to come up, especially in the fields of weird shit like we're in. You never know. And it's so that's what makes it such an adventure.
Yeah. An adventure it is. The Cosmic Cleanup Crew, Laura Lee. A lot of your work is actually going out there and dealing with some of these malevolent beings and literally putting them in their place to, run interference or balance out the the natural universe of things. Can you go through some of that with us?
Yes. Well, the Cosmic Cleanup Crew is another word that I coined. Actually, I think Hal probably told me that. And it's a organization that all first wave indigos are members of. And this is all cliche. I don't know exactly how it works out there, but this is how we can understand it with our language. And the Cosmic Cleanup Crew is exactly as it sounds. They go around to dysfunctional places all over the universe and try to clean it up. And indigos have been to many different, we'll call them academies, and have got their indigo aura, the color in their aura, and are more capable of dealing with some of the really dark things than the regular Cosmic Cleanup Crew members. for instance, my Ghostbuster partner, Ronnie, she is works with the angelic kingdom, and she is absolutely cosmic cleanup crew. Now, there's things that get into the weird shit and really weird shit and really weird scary shit categories that she knows that she hasn't got the tools to handle, and she doesn't want to handle it because it's too out there, and so she hands those off to me. And it's not like she's and she's very capable herself. She is like an extreme psychic and very intuitive, but there's some things that she just knows that are out of her league, and that's where then she calls me in to help. And so what we do is we work together with the other members of the Cosmic Cleanup crew so that we can really do a good job this time, so we don't have to come back. You know, we don't want to come back again. And it was said to me one time that with the Indigos, that they go, oh, there's a place that's really messed up, that's really screwed up, let's go there. Oh, planet Earth, that's really, really, really messed up, that's one of the most messed up places in the universe, let's go there. And it's like I said in the website, you have to be a real hardcore thrill seeker to be a member of the Indigo team, because it's a thrill all the time. And if you don't like drama, then you're in the wrong place, because there's always drama. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't be good dramas, but there's always insanity going on, and you have to have the stability within yourself to be able to then spread it out to your environment to stabilize it. And that's one of the big things that Indigos do here, is stabilize environments and help clear corruption. That's their big thing, is corruption clearing.
Wow, that's a really insightful statement that you just shared there, because it's simplified it and you've expressed it in terms that everybody who's listening can understand.
And it in a way, it is very simple. We're here to clean up corruption, because that's what happened here, is everything got distorted and corrupted. And only beings that had the wherewithal and the tenacity to come in could do it. There's many people that don't want to have anything to do with the corruption that's going on Earth, because it's just too over the top. So here we are, the First Wave Indigo team. We're going, yeah, let us have at it.
And some of us are going, whose idea was it to come here?
I do that all the time. It's like, what was I thinking when I signed that contract? I thought it would be a good idea, and now I'm here, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Yeah, but we do have a lot of help. That's one thing that I keep getting in my face all the time. I keep forgetting how much help I've got. For one thing, the rocks, and then the cryogenetics aid, and then all of our helpers on the other side. One of my very best friends and comrades, Mistycah, died 4 years ago. She was like right there with me through major shift that was going on and helping me get the websites up. And she passed away 4 years ago, and she promised she'd come back. And after she had been maybe a month or 2 months, I started realizing that she was a spirit guide to a lot of our Indigos. And I thought, oh my gosh, she can't come back. She's doing such a good job there. And I said, listen, that promise you made to me, you don't have to do that anymore. And she said, oh, thank you. She said, I really don't want to come back. I really like what I'm doing. And since I was in an earth body for so long, I really feel like I can do a better job on this side, so that the beings in bodies can have something to relate to. A lot of Indigos that have her as a spirit guide have reported that they can connect to her a lot easier and have a more personal relationship with her for whatever reason. I think it's because she's been here. She understands what's going on. She was right in the thick of things. She had been involved with some MK Ultra programming and knew all about that. And so she was a heavy hitter, and to have somebody like that on the other side to help you out and be a spirit guide is huge. And so, we got a lot of help on the other side, and it's really important that we look at that, because there's a lot of programs that are being projected to us to kind of put us on mind freeze, so that we don't see who or even think to ask for help. We just get caught in the insanity that's going on. And so it's very, very important that we take a breath and really let that energy come through. And also, I might add, there's a lot of implants that are around that to keep us from connecting to our helpers, because if they can do that, then they can really bring our efficiency way, way down, and bring our sense of accomplishment way, way down. So it's kind of a racket.
Yeah. I've been on the receiving end of those programs and those implants throughout my life, so I really do have a deep understanding of what it is you're talking about. And even after this interview, I think it'd be great for you and I to explore those areas further as well. Just now, I so dearly want to take this into the realm of chakras.
Before we go there, George, I've got one question.
Yeah.
Just one question.
Sure.
When the crew is out around the cosmos chasing down these malevolent beings, have you tracked down who's at the top of the tree?
Yes. For many years, Amika and I, when we would find something that was corrupted, we would go to the top of the food chain and take that out first. And that is absolutely the way we do it. Maybe other people don't do it that way, but we found that once you do that, then it's much easier to take the little guy out, because they don't have anybody giving them orders anymore. And I did want to intercede something here, and that's that when we were talking about implants, the almoricite is one of the best, fastest, easiest ways I've ever used to help take out implants. And the protocols are on my website.
That was another strange anomaly we just had. I'm recording again now, so just letting the people know we had another very strange occurrence happen with our internet connections. Okay. The game continues. It's fantastic. Yeah, you were talking about aurora light.
Yes. And I wanted people to be aware that one of the most efficient ways I have ever methodologies that I've ever used is using this almoricite rock to help you identify and quarantine and scramble and neutralize implants and then get rid of them. And it does it instantly. It is, it's amazing. Wow. And I also want to mention, I was just talking to the rock a while ago, because I know that the rock has saved my life several times. I was thinking maybe 20 or 30 times. It was over 80. So, wow. Yeah, know why I love this rock so much. It's my best friend here.
Can we go back to the top of the tree? When you actually identify these beings, I'm quite interested to know. I actually know the answer, but I'm trying to lead it in so the audience can identify who's the top dog in the malevolent tree.
Okay, yes. When Amika was working with me, we would always, whenever we'd find some kind of corruption or something that was out of place or deliberately messed with, we would always look to the top of the food chain. And a lot of times it was off planet. It just really was. Sometimes the top of the food chain was here, but most of the time it was off planet stuff. And there were times when it was things that were outside of the hologram. And so, yes, Jason, you're absolutely right. You got to find out who's at the top of the food chain, or you just keep taking. Your work will never be done. You have to take out the commanders, and without that, you're just spinning your wheels pretty much. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Have you been able to? Are you able to verbalize who this is at the top, or explain, or who it is at the top?
If you go on my website and read the history of the hologram, it talks about how all of this corruption started, and how originally this universe was supposed to have been a vacation place. It was supposed to have been a place where you could come and relax and not get hurt, and revitalize, and then go back and do your work. And it got really, really corrupted really fast. And the being that corrupted it put a lot of her essence into the hologram, and so the only way to fix it and correct it and clear the corruption is to go inside. This was an inside job. If it didn't have to be an inside job, we would have fixed it from outside. And so there are a lot of indigos that aren't even from this universe. They're from outside the universe. And I would just suggest that you go to the website. I don't like to even say this being's name because it makes me kind of sick.
Yep, I totally understand where you're coming from.
We appreciate that.
And so, yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Jason, because once you understand how it all got started, it lets you understand why it's the way it is now, and why we're here now, and why we have to be here now, and why we have to operate the way we do, and how we have to always have our scanners out and be very cognizant of every step that we take, because you never know when you're going to step on a landmine, and you have to be kind of the way showers for the people behind you so that they don't step on the landmines. And, you know, it's a very interesting kind of war here that we're in. And at first, when I started understanding the magnitude of this, I was just overwhelmed. I thought, man, I don't know how we're ever going to do this. But I have the good news is that the being that corrupted this universe does not exist anymore. Now we just have to deal with everything that was corrupted, and certain corrupted energy signatures. We have to go and find them in the most unlikely places, and that's what we're doing now. And I must say we are doing an incredible job. I think that we are even surpassing a lot of the grandest expectations of where we thought we could be at this point in time. So I'm really encouraged.
So I guess what you're referring to as the holographic universe, a lot of people who are listening to this are used to the information I've been presenting and the model of the universe I've been presenting. And I just want to make a distinction that for me, I suppose in my mind and in the minds I know of a fair few of the listening audience who understand the model that I present, my interpretation of when you're referring to the holographic universe would be the synthetic universe that I refer to. So I just wanted to share that because some people might get confused.
So, George, let's get on to one of your favourite topics of the moment, and one of the primary reasons we found out about Laura Lee's material, and that's the chakras.
The chakras, yes. What an interesting subject it is, and I would have to say one of the most prevalent religious programs. It's part of the most prevalent religious program on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. And this cosmic ego that I know I've possessed for such a long time, I've discovered that that's where it resided, in these chakra programs that I've had in this life, in other lifetimes, and other incarnations I have in other planetary systems on a cosmic level that also utilize chakra systems. So I know, Laura, that you have these incredible methodologies that you've got you are using with people, and you're able to go to the extent of actually removing chakra systems, and not you doing it really for the person. The person's got to do it for themselves, but you give them the tools and you give them the knowledge and you give them the know-how and the wisdom required in order to be able to achieve such an intention. So can you also share with us your understanding of chakras? And because, we've got some people that specialize in certain areas of life, and I know you specialize in this area of life, and that's I'm so honored to be speaking to somebody out there, because there's not many people out there that are talking about this in the public arena, and that's for good reason. It's because we haven't been allowed to, and now that we're cracking the cosmic matrix and we're riding this new wave of universal energy, we're breaking this paradigm of the chakra systems and all its affiliated programs. So please go ahead and share with us your wisdom on the chakras.
Thank you. It's funny, we talk about chakras and we get blown off the we talk about implant removal with the Almorasite rock, we get blown off the air. Boy, does that tell us something. Okay, we are on something here tonight. The chakras, I had never, I would go to meditations and they'd say, okay, now bring the light down through your crown and down through your body and down into the earth and ground in there and grow roots. And that never worked for me. It was just like trying to push a square peg in a round hole. It just wasn't there. It was not going there. And so I just thought, I'm just not very good at it or whatever. And then a few years ago, we were having a night's training, and there was a indigo that had written to me and said that she was having some real problems with her third eye, and it was hurting, and that she was under severe psychic attack. So I brought that question to the group of knights that were having this training and said, okay, so let's, put on your psychic antennas. Let's see if we can help this woman out. Well, one of the knights there said, oh, third eyes, I hate my third eye. I just want to get rid of it. It's just, it just bugs me. I don't like it. And I thought, whoa, that's certainly a interesting reaction to chakras.
Yeah.
Well, because of that, I think we should sit down and look at chakras. Let's look at, let's just look at them and see what's going on with chakras. Well, the information that came out was shocking to me. I had no idea, as we each went into meditation and came out with different pieces of this puzzle, that chakras are absolutely not there for your benefit. They are a imposed system to help compartmentalize your energies so that outside sources can vampirize you and steal your energy and control you. Oh. Golly, where do I sign up? Where do you sign up? Let's go do that. And we found this out. We were just, I was like, whoa. So we thought, okay, we got these suckers, we need to get them out. So we all did a meditation, and this meditation is to hold a rock in each hand, put one on your head and one in between your big toe and your first toe, with your legs spread out. So you look like the Da Vinci Man with your arms and your legs out. And I also had my Aurora Light pendant on, so I had the Aurora Light over my core, which incidentally is the authentic place for your source. It's your heart and your solar plexus energy. It's a huge area right there in your chest that is the authentic original power source.
Now, I want people listening to this to really take note of what Laura Lee just said, because I've been saying this for well over a decade, and it's so good because Laura Lee and I have only just crossed paths just recently, in the last few weeks, and I just want people to know that it's not just me going off on a tangent here. This is very real stuff, and there's a lot of people that are incredibly wise beings. And they know this for themselves. This is such deep and powerful information.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're supportive of this, because when I put this on, well, for one thing, we had all sorts of problems getting this information on the website, and problems that should never happen were happening. It was just terrible, and I had a lot of people make fun of me and blah blah blah. But truth is truth, and if somebody doesn't want to believe it, that's their journey. But I know that after taking my chakras out, well, let me go back to the story of how we did it. I put on some really dynamic music. We were listening to Into the Stargate by Constance Demby, and everybody just did it their own way. What I did is, first I decided to turn mine off, so I capped them all off. I thought, whew, that feels way nice. And then mine, actually, I could unscrew them. It was very, very strange. And so I unscrewed them all, and then put more of my authentic self in there. And then all of a sudden, my core star just started beefing up and emanating and pulsating. And it was the most amazing, outrageous experience I had had up until that time. I was just at awe at how your core authentic self could feel without all of this interference.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the indigos there, he was the one that didn't like his third eye. Well, he just goes and rips them out, and they were like, for him, it was like roots. And then he said it was sore. He had to go out in the backyard and climb a tree to get stabilized after he ripped his chakras out.
Wow.
I was hysterical. I said, oh, they hurt now. I got to go climb a tree. And that's so indigo.
It is, isn't it?
So then there was another fellow there that he was a yoga instructor, and he also, I didn't know this, but he did not believe in chakras. He used other systems, and he says, scan me and see what are happening to my chakras. And I scanned him, and I said, well, I don't know, yours are off or something. He says, well, I'm glad you said that, because I never use them. And he was did some African spirituality modalities that had nothing to do with chakras. So there was a lot of enlightenment that happened during that time, and we got more information. I wanted to have more people take their chakras out and then tell what it was like before and after, before I ever put it on the website, because this is new stuff. We didn't know if you'd die. I mean, that's kind of what they make you think from the information you read. If you don't have chakras,
don't they? They actually say that if you don't have chakras, then you're going to be dead, because you can't live without them. They become your identity, I suppose, as a human, and it's a lie. It's a belief system. It's a lie.
It's total baloney. It's there's no truth to it at all. I haven't had chakras for 5 years, and I'm just fine. In fact, I'm better than fine. I'm the best I've ever been, and I don't think I could do what I've done in the last 5 years if I didn't get rid of my chakras and just operate from that core star, unobstructed by these imposed systems that feed into you what you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to feel, and keep you in this total subservience position. And so I would just recommend to people to just try it. I had one client who he had a really hard time sleeping. Sleep deprivation was a real issue to him. And I said, well, try taking out your chakras. Well, he was a body worker, and that was kind of scary to him. So what he did is just turn them off one at a time. After he got all 7 turned off, then he started taking them out one at a time. And when he got them all out, I asked him several weeks later how he was doing. He said, since they've been gone, I've been sleeping like a chakra-free baby. I loved it. I thought that was so perfect.
Wow. Well, that is just fantastic. And, you know, I've just got a little surprise for everybody here. I have a very special person sitting beside me who wants to share their experience after having removed their chakras.
Awesome. Who could this be?
Hey, Laura Lee.
Hi there. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Great. So tell us about your chakras.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. I when I removed them, I went through that process myself one day where I felt like I didn't need them anymore, and I didn't relate to them. So I did that, and then George said to me a few months later that he was removing his, and he said, "Oh, I think you should remove yours." I said, "Well, I've already done that." So,
too late.
Yeah, I said, "I already did that." He said, "When did you do that?" I said, "Oh, quite a few months ago, actually." But the thing was that I actually, when I removed them, I suspended them in like an egg, like into a dimension of space and time where they could never interfere with me again. And they couldn't go and interfere with anyone else who had a similar energy signature to me. But it sort of didn't feel right. It felt like I'd only done part of the process. And it was like, you know, when you've got a monkey on your back and you want, you know, it's like that feeling. You've got to deal with it. You've got to deal with it. And anyway, one day I brought them back. I went into a contemplative state. I brought back that egg of, I'll call it an egg because it was like a sphere of my chakras, and I very lovingly embraced them and brought them within me and took them into my, what I call my deepest eternal core essence, my heart. And in the moment that I took them in, they absolutely obliterated and merged. I guess that they just completely merged within me. They dissolved. It was like, you know, when you see a shard of ice drop and it smashes and it just obliterates into tiny little pieces. That's what happened with my chakras. I had a really interesting experience with that too. I won't go into that at the moment, but George wanted me to talk about how I have felt.
Yes. Like, how do you feel? How did you feel before, and how do you feel after? Because I think this is the key for people to understanding, you know, the core of what we're actually talking about here, how we actually function as a person with them, and then how we function and feel afterwards. So.
Well, before I was subject to a lot of internal turmoil. My emotions, I stuffed them down like a lot of women do. And I was really subject to lots and lots of emotional turmoil inwardly. I think that I did a really good job of, well, I like to think that I did, of handling it outwardly, but inwardly I was in so much turmoil. I used to get a lot of stomach pain. I used to really suffer with digestive system problems. And then after I went through this process of removing my chakras, over the next couple of months, it didn't occur to me at first, but what I noticed was that I actually became a lot calmer. I wasn't in that inner turmoil that I had been experiencing for so long.
And when we say inner turmoil, we talk about emotional turmoil
too,
don't we?
Really twisted with emotional turmoil, really feeling a lot of emotions at times that were really off the scale. And I used to sometimes watch what was happening with me and think, this doesn't belong to me. Like, I've got no reason for this to be happening, but it's there. And at the time I thought, well, it must be mine, but it doesn't feel like mine, but it must be mine. You know, I was like that. So what I've noticed since removing the chakras is I don't have that anymore. I have none of that.
It's like just this peace. You get this inner steadfast, like this centeredness and more peaceful feeling within oneself.
Definitely. And that, George just encapsulated it. That's exactly how I feel. I don't have the inner turmoil. I left it behind long ago. So it's really interesting, the difference before chakras, the difference after chakras.
Yeah. Thanks, darling.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've noticed for myself, when they impose the chakra system on us, what it's doing is denying our own core. And, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it just kind of goes dormant. And it's very, very, very hard to get authentic core information and live out of your core if you've got these stupid chakras. Well, what I found out after I got rid of them is that I was in the spotlight because not that many people had dared to cross the mainstream and take them out. But I found that even though I'm on the chopping block more and I'm in the spotlight and they're trying to run me down, I've got more of an ability to handle that kind of stuff because I am operating out of my core star and I am operating out of more power than I ever had before. So it's really kind of a no-brainer, so to speak. The challenges that have come up, I could never have handled these if I were still having my chakras, and I know that for a fact. But then, of course, I probably wouldn't have all these monkeys on my back if I didn't take them out. So I guess what I'm trying to say is just because you take your chakras out doesn't mean that all of your challenges are going away. You have new challenges, but you have more ability to handle them and handle them with ease and grace and power.
Oh, fantastic stuff.
So well put. Perfectly. Just perfect. While I'm still here, I'll just relate. George and I get quite a few emails from people about different subjects. We've had quite a few come in about the chakras. People absolutely relating to what George has been saying about how we don't need them and that they are a tool of manipulation and keeping us in separation internally. And I had one particular email come in from a lady who back in 1998, she was a person who really worked with the earth. She did a lot of, sort of energetic work with the earth. And there was a particular period of time where she was feeling quite low energetically. So she had a friend who was a healer. So she called her friend up on the telephone and said, look, my energy levels are really down. Can you just sort of make some suggestions to give me some help? Well, this healer worked with the chakra system, and she had a little gadget. I don't quite know what it was. The lady didn't go into this detail in her email, but she said that her healer friend scanned her chakras from a distance and phoned her back a few minutes later in an absolute panic saying, you should be dead, you should be dead. And this lady said, no, I'm fine. I'm just a little bit tired. I'm absolutely fine. So this healer lady was so concerned that she came over to this other lady's home immediately with this little gadget that she used to measure the chakras. And she was getting absolutely no reading until she took it to the heart chakra. And this little gadget, this machine, whatever it was she had, went absolutely nuts. It did all sorts of crazy things. It went absolutely off the scale. And in fact, the energy was so strong that the healer actually almost fainted. Now, when she pulled herself together, this lady, the other lady who was a bit tired, sort of realised what was happening and shut down her heart a little bit to withdraw the energy because it was affecting the healer so badly.
But it wasn't the heart chakra, it was actually her core heart centre.
Her core heart centre. And when the healer kind of collected herself, she said to this lady, you should be dead. Your chakras are not working. I don't understand why you're not dead, but I'm not going to tell anyone. I promise I won't tell anyone. So isn't that interesting?
Tell everyone.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that, because that reaffirms to me exactly what we have been getting over here too. Is that I had a fellow that was also a body worker, and he was talking to Ronnie, and she said, "Well, Laura Lee took her chakras out." He says, "No, she couldn't. She'd be dead." He said, "Well," she says, "yeah, she's got them out, and she's just fine." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna look at her the next time I see her, because I'll know, because I can see chakras." And so I'm not dead. I've got to go back to that guy, because I don't think I've seen him since I took mine out. I've got to go, "Hey, see, I'm still alive. Look at me." So I will let you know what he sees when I go see him the next time. It's been several years, but I will follow up on that. Because that's yeah.
Thanks, darling. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, it was just a really good little bit of input there, because we do get emails, and Cynthia does communicate with a lot of people, and that was just one example. And it's important for people to know that we do exist, bigger, stronger, happier, more powerful, more magnificent than ever, beyond the need for any chakra system.
Absolutely, and extremely more capable. And I feel like I'm a lot more psychic than I used to be. I can see a little teeny dark in the light really, really fast now, and I could never do that before. I think it gives you a lot more psychic savvy after you take them out and just operate.
Oh, yeah. I think you do too, because the chakra program aligns you into the cosmic matrix. And, you know, we've done now, we've cracked that. We're now viewing life from beyond the cosmic matrix. And that's why we can see what you call the dark and the light is referencing exactly the same thing. And I use another label, is the false light, or synthetic light. It's darkness posing as light. So we are saying exactly the same thing. And, you know, we just want to let people know that this lie, this belief system that if you don't have chakras, you're meant to be dead, or you can't exist without them, is a complete and utter lie. And it's a mental program designed to make you think that you can't live without them. It's all about dependency. It's total dependency. And we need to become free and sovereign in all ways. And please know that there's many of us, and there's other people too. I'm going to be interviewing yet another person who also goes about helping people remove chakras. And, you know, we're really, I honestly, I'm just going to say this, people who believe in chakra systems are believing a religious ideology. To believe in your chakras is a religious program. But it's a cosmic level religion.
Absolutely. You're so right on that. And in some ways, it's almost more dangerous, because we're dealing with, like you say, the matrices of the hologram, and it is more dangerous. So I think for us wake breakers, breaking through these horrible paradigms of how we need to conduct our lives here and what imposed systems we need to have on, we're doing some serious shaking. And hats off to you, George, for putting your head on this chopping block. I know that it hasn't been real fun for you, and the ridicule and stuff, but you know, as we walk away with our shining core star and they've got their chakras, we'll go, okay, well, have a nice life. I'll take my core star, thank you, and we'll just go home.
Exactly. It's that core star, eternal core soul essence. We're all saying the same thing. And even Jason's done it really tough, because he's in the corporate world and he's being judged and persecuted quite a lot there too, aren't you, Jay?
Yeah, that's okay. For those who are struggling...
What a warrior.
You just got to cop it on the chin, right? You just get up and continue on. Yeah. But getting back to the chakra system, there's a lot of people hurting now listening to this, because they're so engrossed in this program. And it's hard to shake. You're just not going to wake up one day and go, oh, it's time to get rid of the chakras. Maybe you will. Some people will. But some just so much into the Reiki and the New Age healings and so embedded into this programming. The real question to ask yourself is, do you exist beyond the chakras?
Very good. That is very good.
That's the key question right there, isn't it?
And once you answer that question, you'll understand.
Yeah. Bingo. So well said, Jason. That is the key question to all of this. Do you exist beyond the chakra system?
Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you, Jason. That's perfect.
That's the question for everyone to ask themselves, and that's a question for all of us to ask anybody who talks to us in this subject matter. So very important. That's the key to it all, because when you realize that you do exist beyond it, then you realize that attaining to balance your chakras is not the be-all and end-all. It's actually just really people feel better when their chakras have been aligned because they've actually been recalibrated into the cosmic matrix, because they're immersed in it. I'll give you a really good analogy. When people go for chakra alignment to get their chakras realigned, and therefore they feel more happy and balanced and synchronized and more, and some people feel more blissed out. I'll tell you exactly what you're doing on a cosmic level and a light-based level. It's no different to feeling depressed and feeling out of sorts and going to a psychiatrist, psychologist. Then they issue you with a prescription for an antidepressant. Then you take that antidepressant and you all of a sudden feel, you don't feel the pain anymore and you just feel okay and you're getting back into the groove of life in the matrix. Well, guess what? When you get your chakras aligned, you are taking an antidepressant pill on a cosmic level and you are just being recalibrated back into the cosmic matrix. So good for you.
Absolutely drugged up and doped up and just staring and drooling, not functioning and not thinking, just existing. That's very good. I appreciate that.
And the subtle details too on what other feelings have people reported to you, Laura Lee, when they have removed the chakras? Like Cynthia talked about not having so much emotional turmoil, and I'll vouch for that because I've had the same experience. Are there any?
That seems to be this classic one. You just don't have this internal struggle, and that obviously is because you're not struggling against yourself, so that you don't have that back and forth mind games going on. And that really is the biggest one that I have noticed with the clients and the friends that I have worked with that have taken them out, is that the chatter goes away and they're more able to sense their authentic self. And it's, it's so, the thing is, it's so easy. That's what's so funny about all of this, is taking them out is so easy that, I don't know. Now, I would, for those who want to do it, I would have them put themselves in a cryogenetics egg just to make sure that you've got a protective protocol around you in case there's some undesirables trying to mess with you while you're trying to do that. And I just think that would be a really useful thing to do if you're going to take your chakras out. That would just be my way of supporting other people doing that, is to have the cryogenetics egg with them.
Yeah, fantastic. That is awesome. And okay, I'm going to now ask, going back, just changing the subject a little bit, you mentioned Hal before. Can you just enlighten us on who Hal is? Because my question to you is, having seen the movie, I gather your friend Hal is not an artificial intelligence, correct?
I thought it was the first I met Hal, it's been like 20 years ago. It's been a while. And I was going through a real hard time in my life where I was just leaving organized religion, and I didn't know what I believed anymore, and I was trying to do some automatic writing. And I got this little, a couple of paragraphs. I said, well, who are you? And he said, Hal. And I just started to bust up laughing because all of these New Age wonderful gurus that people have always had these. If somebody had a spirit guide, they had all of these wonderful exotic kind of names. And I get Hal. I get this jokester. Everybody else gets these exotic, well, and I get the jokester. At first I questioned, I'm like, no way, no, this can't be true. And the more I started connecting to Hal, and it just turned into this amazing, it's almost like a counterculture with Hal. He is so extremely funny, and sometimes his jokes are really corny, and I'm just like, oh please, that's too corny. If you go on the Mystic House site, that gives you an introduction to Hal and what Hal's like. And I have found that Hal is one of the wisest, if there is any spirit guide in the whole universe that I would like to have my main guide, it would be Hal, because when you get past all the humor and everything, he's very he's serious about humor, that's one thing. But
the irony in that statement.
He knows what is going on here in very intimate detail. I don't know how he knows. He originated from outside the hologram. I don't know how he got through here. He must have done some amazing things to get through all of the checks and balance systems that you have to do to get through into this hologram. I think I talked to you, George, about forced agreements, that beings from outside the universe had to have all these stupid forced agreements when they came in here so that it would bring our efficiency way down. And we'll call them the police that police the outsides of the universe. You have to do all these stupid things and jump through the hoops in order to get through if you're not originally in here. And somehow Hal got through that and is as authentic as, I feel he's as authentic here as he is on the outside. So, and he's a lot of people's spirit guide. He's not just mine. And people too can relate very well to Hal because he's so down to earth and tells it like it is. A lot of the messages that I've gotten from him are just so down to earth. He doesn't go along and talk long, flowery language. He hates that stuff. He just wants to get to the point. And it's just really efficient and what we need here. We need this balance of humor and cutting to the chase and getting to the bottom line. And Hal does that. And I'm really grateful that I'd be dead without him too. Without the Aurora Light and without Hal, I'd be amazing in times.
I'm sure you would have found another way. But it is about having acknowledgement and gratitude for those that have helped us in our journey. I totally agree. But Hal seems like a really nice guy. I've been feeling into his energy, and he's the kind of guy that Jason and I could easily sit in a bar and have a nice beer with, if you know what I mean. He's that kind of guy, and talk about life and have a good laugh. So he's our kind of guy, Hal. I like that.
Absolutely. And very profound wisdom when Hal says, okay, listen up. There've been a few times where he was real serious, and it just took me off guard, and I thought, okay, I better listen up because he's never serious. And he told me to do some things. If I hadn't, I would have been in real trouble. So he can get serious, just so you know. Every once in a while he gets serious.
We all do. We all have to, and even in interviews, I adorn that warrior and a bit of arrogance and get stuck in and have a go. We all have to every now and then because we've got to deal with some pretty serious energies. And even as we're talking now, it's actually a really, really happy and safe environment the three of us have got going on here. But in some of the interviews that I'm doing, and I'm sure Laura's aware of this, and even when Jason has to speak in different environments through his work and what have you, you do get attacked. And so while we're actually trying to talk, we're getting kicked and punched and totally assaulted on all these other different levels, and you try to maintain your composure and in your expression. And sometimes you get a bit intense because you have to deal with all this other stuff that's going on inside of you and on a multidimensional level.
In a boxing ring, a psychic boxing ring that nobody else can see, and you're getting beat up, and
totally.
nobody else knows about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I really want to talk about this Knight's Code, because I know Jason and I, a couple of knights of old, and there's a lot of other gentlemen that I've been crossing paths with late. Seems to be a bit of a gathering of the knights of old happening, and through different eras of time and epochs and eras, and not only on this planet, but other parts of the universe and other realities and domains and star systems and what have you. And so we... this Knight's Code to me is very personal. It's very touching, because this is very dear to my core heart essence of who I am and what I'm about and why I came to this planet. And, you've also mentioned, Laura Lee, that this Knight's Code also applies to the feminine. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there are many women that are lady knights and have to take on that persona of a knight. For instance, single women with children, they have to take on that persona. And there's just a lot of times when women have to step up and be the knight. And so it's really important that women know that there's lady knights too. When this first came through, I didn't understand it that way, because I was in a different place. And as the years went by, a lot of women said, well, I'm a knight too, and I realized that that was true. And so I had to go back. This actually was inspired by the Lady of the Lake, and I went back and with her energies revised it a little to include lady knights. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That's very important.
Well, yeah, I'm going to read out the Knight's Code, and this is going to be in the relation to men, but please, ladies, understand that on your websites, Laura Lee, you have the combined one. Is that correct?
Yes, I've got the Knight's Code and the Ladies' Code, and as you read the Knight's Code, you'll understand that it absolutely can apply to ladies too.
And then after I finish reading this, because I think it's a wonderful way to end, I would just dearly love for you to read What is a Goddess?
Oh, okay. I'll have to pull it up on my website. I can do that.
Yeah, I would be deeply honoured, because I think we need to finish off with the acknowledgement of the feminine in today's discussion, because you are a warrior goddess. You truly are. You embody that wonderfully, and you live by that code and that ethic. So I'll just begin now reading out this Knight's Code, because in my book, I talk about the call that went out through the universe, and only certain beings heard that call. So this is fantastic that even there's a reference to that in this Knight's Code. So it goes like this, the Knight's Code. A universal call is made to activate all real men who remember and are willing to live by the Knight's Code. You are now hereby being called to action. It is time for battle, or there will be nothing left to battle for. As you take on your armour, your shield, and your sword, do you have the memory and the courage to activate yourself and bring forth a living, breathing knight into this new millennium? Do you have the wisdom, the will, the strength, the valour, and the power it takes to be a knight, and live by the Knight's Code from this day forth until the moment of your last breath? O great and valiant knights of the earth, come forth now and be counted. The time has finally come. You know who you are. Wake up, arise, let your destiny begin. O great, honourable and noble knights of this world, step out of your hate, your anger, and the pains of the past. Step out of your corporate worlds and the hunger for useless power. Put on your armour of honour. Pick up your shield of love and your mighty sword of truth. Be living proof that chivalry and valour are alive and unyielding. Do you have the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the ancient encoded memories, and the passion it takes to be a millennial knight?
Yeah, boy, I just got chills when you read that.
Powerful stuff.
That's, yeah, thank you for reading that. That is very applicable to everything that we have been saying tonight. I appreciate hearing that from you.
That's very powerful. So the first time I read that, I'm stirring now. I've got all these big, warm, fuzzy stirrings deep inside my torso. And I could tell you what, we know who we are, and we know what we're here to do. And the methods,
bloody do it too.
We're going to bloody do it, I tell you. And it's time for us men to be accounted for. We really do need to step up to the plate and live that code of chivalry. And every other man out there who's listening to this, and of course the Lady Knights as well, you know who you are. We know what we need to do. The new wave of energy is here. It is now our time to step forth, to feel deep within ourselves, and nobody's going to tell you what to do. This is about activation. So then you can go forth and draw on that knowledge, on that wisdom, and that great power that resides within you. And in there is everything you need to do what you need to do, to go where you need to go, and know how it is what you need to do. It's beautiful words. Thank you, Laura Lee, for that. Thank you. It was an honour to read it out. Yeah.
So I will read now the Ladies' Code, and it's entitled, What is a Goddess? A goddess is strong and powerful. A goddess is mystical and creating. A goddess is intelligent and wise. A goddess is pure laughter and joy. A goddess is loving and inspiring. A goddess is sensual and beautiful, and she knows it. Therefore, she never hides or represses it. Instead, she allows and cultivates it. Then she emanates and projects it, without the least concern of how others will receive it or interpret it. She is the most powerful force in the universe, the very essence of creation. A goddess is fearless because she knows she can't be hurt. She is a woman who realized she was God.
Brilliant stuff. So, Laura, if you can share with us one more time your websites and how people can further investigate and explore what you have to share with our human family.
Oh, okay, thank you. Probably the easiest the easiest emails to reach me are at Knights, KNIGHTS, at Mistycah, MISTYC house.com, or Indigos at mystichouse.com. And my websites are firstwaveindigos.com and mystichouse.com, MISTYC house.com, and ghostbustergals.com. And then if you want to, you can go into rwsproductions.com and see what pops up.
Yeah, that's a ripper, that one. Okay. Jay, have you got any closing statements for Laura Lee?
I just want to thank you, Laura Lee, for being part of Super Woo Radio.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm really enjoying this. This is great. It's great to be as weird as I am and not have to hold back.
Exactly.
You're not weird. You're a very special person.
Normal to us.
Yeah, you're a very special person doing an incredible job, and I just want to honour you for everything you've done for humanity and what you continue to do. Yeah, I'm eternally grateful, and I think a lot of people listening are as well. It's great for someone to come on and talk about and confirm topics that George has been so passionate about for a number of years. And there's more out there, and it's great to hear the wisdom from such a goddess that you are. So thank you kindly.
Thank you, Jason. That was a very, very nice thing to say. I'm just kind of choked up. Thank you.
No, we are truly honoured, and I think Jason summed it up beautifully. And Laura Lee, you, like Jason and I, have come through the School of Hard Knocks, and we know how to recognise it in somebody. It's quite obvious. And your level of wisdom and your courage to be Laura Lee is greatly, greatly and deeply appreciated. I would just ask that you share with us now a message that you would like to share with our human family as a closing statement.
Well, this must be a message from Hal, okay? Because what came to my mind when you said that was, remember on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? They said, be excellent to each other, dude.
Yes,
so that's from Hal. So that from me and Hal, be excellent to each other.
Thank you so much. Good to finish with a laugh.
Well, thank you very, very much, and we'll catch you again soon, okay?
Yeah, will do. Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
It's an honour and a pleasure. Thank you.
Long ago, the forests were so gold, the north wind slowly turned to snow. I was young, my life had just begun, time had almost surely gone. When the land was free as far as the sea, and the kingdoms won shone like the sun, and now there's me, the last of my line, the last had just begun. Time had almost shown.